Hello, and welcome to part 3 of our identity series. Last time we talked about how the actions of Jesus showed us that God is love, and any other idea that is contrary to that is not a true biblical view of who God is. So today we're going to explore this subject a little further because this is what forms the foundation of our identity. This affects how we interact with people, our thoughts, our attitudes. These are all the results of how we understand the love of God for us personally. Because when we know we are fully loved, fully accepted, and fully secure in the love of God, then we start seeing our lives differently. But I must warn you, this is not something that comes overnight. This is a process of replacing the old thoughts and the old ways you have been taught with a correct view of God and what his nature is really like. So let's take a look at Romans 12:2. This will tell us how to do this. It says, "And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect." So for now, I just want to focus on the first part of this verse, but there's so much more here than what I'm going to be talking about today. But in the first part of this verse, Paul is saying, don't just do what the culture around you is doing, which actually is exactly what our Western churches have done. They have let the culture infect the church rather than the church transform the culture. But anyway, Paul goes on and says, the only way we will be transformed, meaning our thinking, our thought life, our attitudes, is by thinking differently. And how do we do that? By thinking from another reality, the reality from heaven towards earth. We need to think the way God thinks. So the way we start seeing ourselves as loved by God is by seeing his love for us from his perspective. This is the transformation that needs to take place in our minds. I've heard believers say, I prayed and God didn't answer my prayer, which, by the way, really bugs me when people say that to me. But you see that their mind is not transformed to the love of God for them. They are stuck in their old thinking of, well, I prayed and God didn't answer me the way that I think he should, like God is some sort of genie. But a transformed mind thinks, God is my loving Father, and because of that love, he always wants to answer my prayers. So I have to get his perspective on this situation because he is always faithful to answer me. This is a mind renewed to the love of God. This is not a mind over matter thing. This is about a shift in our thinking from the way we have always thought about God to now the way we understand his immense love for us personally. Once we start seeing the shift, we will start seeing that inward transformation affecting our outward actions. So thank you for joining me on this 2 Minutes with Terry. See you next time.